a pledge to a Washington lobbyist. And in that pledge, you promised that you would never close the loopholes that allow companies to take their jobs overseas, that would allow them to get deductions for taking their jobs overseas, that would discontinue the subsidies of big oil. You signed that pledge without consulting your constituents on the damage it would do
Question,
to this
please.
district. Why did you do that? It doesn't make sense.
Congressman Barber, what's amazing to me is this is the first time I've seen in my lifetime that politicians are arguing who wants to raise taxes. No, vote for me, I want to raise taxes. Look, we are in an economic downturn. People are struggling. Middle-class families are having a hard time keeping food on the table and figuring out how their kids are going to get a good education. We have got to get our economy going again. If you've got a teenager who's got a spending problem, the first thing you don't do is give them a greater allowance, right? You don't say, well, let's just raise the revenue. We need to solve these problems together, but even if we were to raise taxes right now on the top 2 income brackets to 100%, we could not solve our deficit. We've got to show some fiscal discipline, and we got to get our economy growing again. We got to get people back to work. I'm not going to apologize, and I'm saying I'm not going to Washington, D.C. to raise your taxes. But you know what? As a leader, all options should be on the table for us to figure out how to solve this crisis together, and I'm committed to doing that.
Thank you, Ms. McSally. Okay, now you get to pose a question to Mr. Barber.
Congressman Barber, my question to you is, will you right now, in front of these people, apologize to me for the blatantly sexist ad that your party bosses have shown on TV? That have been an insult to all women, but also women's veterans groups are calling for an apology. Will you right now on the stage apologize to me for your party boss's ad?
Well, I can't apologize for something I didn't do. That's the story.
Right.
Wait a minute, my turn, not yours. I would say to you that that ad, as you well know, was not done by my campaign. I would never use that technique or approach. I don't like that ad.
You apologize
Let me
on
finish.
their behalf.
Excuse me, can I get more time here?
Yes.
Can I not be interrupted so I
you
can finish?
won't apologize.
Can I
Please.
finish, please? Can I finish?
Go right ahead.
I've never heard you answer the question I posed to you. Why did you sign the Norquist Pledge? I didn't produce that ad. I don't like what it did, and I would never apologize for something I didn't do. But I would apologize for something I did do. I didn't do that, and you well know it.
Okay. Now we get to have the closing statements from both candidates, and again, to refresh your memory, the closing statements will be signified again by the red card, not a bell, and they have 2 minutes each to make their closing statements. And Congressman Barber, you get to go first.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. I think you can see there are a lot of differences between me and my opponent tonight. Hopefully that clarifies the election for you. I want to thank the Chamber. I want to thank Buena High School. I want to thank our moderator who's done a great job here tonight. I also want to thank my opponent, Colonel McSally, and all of the people who are here tonight to listen to us. I went to Washington on June 19th to fight for this district, to fight for middle-class Americans and families here, to fight for veterans here, to fight for military and all of the people in this district who I've spoken to over the last 6 years about their issues, and went there to try to help solve those problems. And I will continue to do that if you send me back. I have a deep commitment to this community. I came here with my father who was in the Air Force. I met my sweetheart who's sitting in the front row when we were in high school. We've been married 45 years. Our kids live here. Our grandkids live here. I want for them the same opportunities that she and I, my wife and I, have had in this beautiful part of the country. We love it deeply, and we have a deep and abiding respect for the people who live here. And I have a lot of experience in what the issues are. My deep roots also tell me what we need to do. We need to make sure here in Cochise County that we stand up for Fort Huachuca. We need to make sure that here in Cochise County we protect the river, which is tied to Fort Huachuca. We need to have border security so that people can be safe in their homes. We cannot allow the cartels to have this as a major drug running corridor where 50% of the drugs come through all the time. We have to stop it. And on the Homeland Security Committee, that's what I'm working on. We have to make sure that small businesses can thrive. As a small business owner, I know how to do that. And we have to continue what we've done from the beginning. 36 hours after I was elected in the special election, our constituent services was open, serving the people of this community, and we will continue to have an office here in Sierra Vista to continue that outstanding service. So I've been honored to serve this time in Congress, to complete the term of Congresswoman Giffords. And I'm asking for your vote so I can continue my service to you and hope that I can continue to help solve these important problems for the people who live in this community. Thank you so much.
Ms. Michelle, you give the closing statement.
Thank you. Thanks to the Chamber for putting this on. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for everybody coming out tonight into Buena High School. Look, there's a lot at stake in this election, at our community and for our nation. And there is a contrast between the two of us that is pretty clear, and it's in 3 areas. The first is our credentials and our background. For those who don't know me, I'm a retired Air Force colonel. I'm an Air Force Academy Distinguished Graduate. I have 2 master's degrees, one from Harvard and one from Air War College, where I graduated #1 in my class. I stood up against the Pentagon when they had a policy that was making our servicewomen wear Muslim garb in Saudi Arabia. I put my career on the line for that because my oath of office mattered. I showed moral courage even when it was going to come at a personal cost. There is a very clear difference in our profiles. There's a difference in our messages. You've seen his voting record. Because of his voting record, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Association of Builders and Contractors, the Home Builders, anybody who cares about jobs and economy, they've endorsed me. Your former mayor, Tom Hessler, and Jack Strain, and Bob Strain and his wife Jane, they have both endorsed me. They know that I'm the one who can lead here. There's a difference in our message, there's a difference in our profile. And unfortunately, in the last few weeks, I've seen there's a difference in our character. Mr. Barber has shown that he will do whatever it takes in order to win this election. His divisive, lying, inflammatory, distorted, and sexist messages that are going out are absolutely inappropriate, and I won't stand for them. This is embarrassing, and you should be embarrassed for them. And the fact that he wouldn't even stand up and show the moral courage to say that's wrong is a problem. I bring leadership. I bring moral courage. I'm ready to sit down with anybody to figure out how to solve our nation's problems and get people back to work again. This is what we're missing in DC, and he's become a part of the problem. It's time for a fresh start. And those who represented this district in the past would not have done things like this. I'm ready for us to move forward and fight for you, and fight for our interests, and fight for our country in Washington, D.C. I took an oath of office that I take very seriously to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. It's the same exact oath of a member of Congress. I consider this my next assignment, and I am standing up ready to serve again, and I would be honored to represent you. Thank you.
Thank you. That does conclude our forum for tonight, and on behalf of the Sierra Vista Chamber of Commerce, I do appreciate your attention and your participation tonight. And to the 2 candidates, please give them a round of applause for coming to Sierra Vista.